Hi.
Hi.
How does
Happy
that compare?
Monday.
Happy Monday. I've had a notification, as I always do, saying we're having trouble posting to LinkedIn. So if anyone is joining, if you could please let us know in the comments if we're live or not, that'd be really, really handy. It does say we're live in the corner though, so let's see. I can't tell. If you're on, please let us know. But without further ado, we'll wait for people to jump on. Kat, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, pleasure. I've been looking forward to this. We had to postpone it a couple of weeks ago due to not being very well. But yeah, great to be here this morning on this lovely Monday.
Yeah, hoping we get some audience because obviously it's bank holiday, but we'll see where we
Yes.
get to. Um, we've known each other for a while now. Met on Instagram and obviously transitioned over to LinkedIn.
Yes.
So
Where it is, where everything's happening.
where it
LinkedIn.
is, I was just going to ask you a bit more about platforms and stuff because you're on both, similar to myself. Have you got a favorite?
Yeah, LinkedIn by far. To be honest, Instagram is for me. It's a bit more of friends and following things that I'm interested in. But LinkedIn is really where I'm growing my community and where I connect with people that I'm learning from, and obviously also businesses and organizations that I'm working for. But I much, much, much prefer LinkedIn to Instagram.
I'm going that way as well.
Are you? Because I mean, you are big on Instagram and you were always big on Instagram, like you always had a lot of love for Instagram, but
Mm,
you've seen the other side.
yeah. Well, I was on LinkedIn for ages, but scared, I guess, in some form of blocker to just post and be myself because I was in a corporate role. I have
Yeah.
no idea why. It's not like me at all, but yeah, it's interesting. Um, Tell us a bit more about what you do for anyone that doesn't know you, because I know you're gathering quite the following as well, which is impressive.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's good to see. Oh, I just see a comment there in the chat. Does that mean? Oh, yeah, says so. We are live and people are listening to us. That's good to know. So my company is called the Morning Game Changer, and I work with organisations all around the world, and I teach positive and healthy habits to improve employee well-being. And I realised actually on Wednesday it will be my 1 year anniversary of quitting my job and taking the plunge and starting the business. I can't believe it's been
Wow.
1 year, but yeah,
Wow.
Wednesday it was 1 year ago. I left my job. That was my last day.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing. It's a
you.
scary step, isn't it? I've just done it myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, how long were you quitting in your head before you actually were quitting publicly?
I think I realised a year prior to that,
A whole year.
possibly even 18 months, I sort of started to have the idea. And then I started working with a coach, and it took me 9 months, 9 months from when I made the decision to actually fully leave. That was partly due to the job I was doing at the time, but I will happily admit there was so much resistance going on
Mm,
inside of myself with my ego and so on. And I think I think until you do it, I know some people are sort of pushed, aren't they? If they get made redundant, that's a different story, equally hard. But when you're actively giving up a really good salary every month and that comfort blanket to go into the unknown, it takes a lot of mental power and strength and belief that you can actually do this.
big risk.
Yeah.
Even though I don't believe it is, if you get your ducks in a row and you've got a bit of prep time,
Yeah.
or maybe you have a redundancy payout, for example, you
Yeah.
have got a bit of a comfort blanket there, I guess. But yeah, very, very scary stuff. And I know you definitely practice what you preach because I'm tuned into your stories every morning on Instagram. I think you're either in my favorites list or you've been programmed into the favorites list because you're always one of the first that I see, these beach walks and stuff. But yeah, you definitely practice what you preach. How long were you doing what you do? And we'll get into what that is obviously shortly, but how long ago were you doing that before you took the leap from your job?
So I think it's probably been about 4 years that three to 4 years, I'd say now, that I've been working on a morning routine and refining it and creating my own positive habits. And it all started in 2016, where I totally destroyed every aspect of my life. That's another story. I don't know if we have time to go into that today, but that's what I think sparked the need to change my habits, because that life explosion was totally my own creation of just a series of really poor, unhealthy habits. And in the middle of all of that, I got headhunted and I got my first CEO role. And along came loads of imposter syndrome, a massive challenge to turn an organization around. And coincidentally, at the same time, my partner started waking me up. Well, he was waking up at 5 a.m. for work, and he woke me up the first day, and I could have throttled him. The second day, equally, and then on the third day, something clicked. It was a Wednesday. I remember it so well, and I just thought, if I'm going to be waking up at 5 a.m. anyway, I might as well do something useful with this time. And it was around that time in my life where I always had these good intentions. I think lots of us do, to go to the gym, to eat better, to read more, to get out more. And I just saved all those things for the evening. And then I never did them because I had every excuse under the sun by the end of the day. So I thought, what if I move those things up and do them in the morning? And at the same time, I was reading books like The Miracle Morning and all of those books about the I suppose the power of morning routines. And I realized, and kind of I was reading it and then practicing it at the same time. It was quite a cool experience. I realized that all of this stuff I was doing, I'd been doing my whole life the wrong way round, because now in the morning, it gives me that power. It gives me like that mental and physical preparation. So what I teach employees is not to wake up at 5 a.m. What I teach them is what to do when they wake up. So it makes a difference to their day, to their week, to their month, and then ultimately to their lives.
I like it. I've never thought about it like that. I am a morning person now. Definitely. I've to be honest, I've been getting up at 6 a.m. Apart from when I went through heavy alcohol, late teenage, early 20s phase, I was doing a paper around age 11 till 15. I've never even really think about that. But I used to get up at 6. So it's always, and my dad was the same. So it's always been in me. But first of all, I wanted to say good things obviously happen on Wednesdays for you. It certainly sounds like. So, that could be your day of the week moving forward. I'd love to, only if you're open to it, dig more into that backstory and about those bad decisions. Purely because I think it's all well and good you sitting here and talking about how well things are going now and how you can help other people. But I love a transformational story. So obviously, if there are any bits you want to leave out, please do. But I'd love to know what those bad decisions were and where your mind was at when you made them.
Yes, I'd love to, because I think I think a lot of us struggle with it. And when I saw the amount of people that signed up for this LinkedIn Live, I was really, happy. But also, I think it shows that so many of us, we recognize the importance of a morning routine, but we don't really know how to go about doing it. So if we just go back a bit, before the explosion in 2016, I was following this belief. And I talk about this quite often in my content, that the harder I worked, the more successful I would be. And I was chasing that, very, I think, stereotypical kind of way that we should live our lives, that we get fed from when we're young, which is, study hard, go to university. In my case, I was the first person in my family to go to university. So sort of a bit of extra pressure thrown in there. So work hard at school, do well at university, get an amazing job, keep getting amazing jobs, find the man of your dreams, get married, buy a house, have some children, and live happily ever after. And, I can categorically say now, sitting here as a very wise 40-year-old, that is not how my life panned out. And what actually happened was I was just following that that kind of routine that you're given when you're a child. So if you remember when you're a child, you used to wake up, your parents would wake you up and they'd say, right, it's time to get up, get dressed, brush your teeth, have your breakfast, go to school. And then you just carry on those habits, don't you? When as a teenager, as an adult, and then you know they continue. And so it never occurred to me when I was, you know, not even sort of 6 years ago, that this wasn't the right way to do things. This is the way I'd always done things. Just wake up, go straight into my phone. That was, I think, one of the killer habits. Went straight into my phone. After I'd probably snoozed several times, that was another one. And then I'd go into my phone and I'd start my heart racing. I'd look at the deadlines. I'd look at the projects. I'd look at the emails. I'd look at all the, you know, the Slack, the Skype notifications. And I wouldn't have even opened my eyes like 5 minutes at this point. And it's, you know, when I actually saw a doctor in 2016, he said, I'm surprised you haven't given yourself a heart attack. And I think lots of us kind of wake up, and because we use our phones as alarms, it's then so easy just to jump straight into the phone. But it wasn't just the morning. It was, you know, throughout the day. I think I wasn't really ever present. I was always in my head. I was always at work. And so what happened was the people who were sort of close to me, especially, you know, the person I was in a relationship at the time and my father, you know, two important people, they never got the best of me. In fact, they used to get the absolute worst of me. And I remember being at a really good friend's wedding once, and just, you know, now able to talk about this, but at the time I was so ashamed and embarrassed. But I remember being in the toilets on the phone doing work whilst I was at this wedding. And of course, you know, it was a Saturday. There was no pressure from my boss or anyone. You know, nobody was saying, Kat, you have to be working on this Saturday. That was a habit that I had created. And the thing is, when I started to change my habits, when I was in this new CEO role, I learned this bit of absolute gold. And it was that I was better at work when I was doing these habits. So when I do my morning routine, I can completely see a difference in my mood, my energy, my performance over a day where I skip it or miss it for some reason. Now imagine, like most of us, like I used to be, we wake up and we go straight into this autopilot mode. It's like a kind of a work mode. It doesn't matter whether you're actually going to work or you're looking after kids or whatever you're doing. But most of us don't even think about mentally and physically preparing for the day. We just get up and we grab a coffee, we, check our phones, and bang, the day is now running you rather than you're running your day. So some of those bad habits were also, drinking coffee and energy drinks to kind of wake up and keep myself going, and then drinking alcohol at night to try to kind of calm everything down and shut some of the noise off. The phone, I had absolutely terrible phone habits. I never slept well. And it's like, now I look back and I think, no wonder I didn't sleep very well. And I sleep like a baby now, no problem sleeping. And it's all down to our habits. And as James Clear says in his brilliant book, Atomic Habits, our lives are literally the sum of those habits. And what I teach employees now, why I think this work is so important, is that if we don't watch out, these bad habits over time, they can cause, these life explosions. They can cause fatigue, stress, heart attacks, divorces, infidelity, and much more. So even though making a tiny decision today about not to exercise doesn't make a real difference to this Monday, but over time, it makes a difference. But you know what it's like with this instant gratification, this 24/7 digitally connected world we live in. It's so easy just to choose the instant gratification and overlook the potential damage that's going to have on your future self. And so it's all just about making better choices. And to me, choices all come down to the kind of habits we have. So we have a choice whether we snooze or not. We have a choice whether we wake up and scroll for 30 minutes or we do a 10-minute exercise in our living rooms. You know, these are all choices. This isn't easy to hear, of course, is it? This is, you know, this sometimes sounds like we all know this, but we kind of don't actually end up doing it. But for me, I guess the reason I started my business, because I just would never want anybody to go through what I went through. It was horrific. It was the most, you know, darkest time in my life. And it took a lot of work to get to where I am now. And so I suppose I'm just trying to offer individual employees and just people, you know, human beings, a chance to redesign their mornings, especially, and their habits, so that they can have happier, healthier, and higher performing lives. Because we get one life, you know, and to me, I value life so much. And I think it's really easy just to be living in this autopilot in your head all the time and not see the cracks that are appearing all around you, you know, especially things that are important, like the people we love.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, you've touched on every element that you've touched on there. You know, not being present, you know, infidelity you mentioned, working when you shouldn't be, being
Yeah.
stressed, all has an impact on those people closest to us. But
Yeah.
one thing I did mean to write this down in my prep for this, but I noticed you recently read The Compound Effect. Is it Darren Hardy? Dan
Yeah.
Hardy?
Yeah.
Darren Hardy?
Yeah.
I
It's
can't remember.
really good.
Great book. And I
Yeah.
made a reel about this. I've not read it in a while. I do want to revisit it, but this instant gratification thing really, really is a problem. It is. And for me, that's choosing to do the easy work now. You know, it's the easy solution.
Yeah.
You know, not doing your teeth, as you mentioned, it's fine. If you miss them for one night. But if you miss them every morning and every night for 5 years, you're not going to have any teeth left. Or if you eat
Yeah.
KFC every single day, you know, you're going to get fat and be overweight. And it is all about now. And I'm so glad I stumbled in a way, so glad COVID happened in a way, because I drew so many positives from being alone and doing the work on myself, which is, you know, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We would never have met, obviously for various reasons, but the fact that I chose to start trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's when I read books like The Compound Effect and Atomic Habits and things like that. And it only takes a couple of small changes consistently for you to realize how much impact you can have, morning or night. And I know you're going to say morning, and personally I agree as well, but
Yeah.
at any time of the day to begin with,
Yeah.
just to make that choice that might be a little bit hard. Exercise is a perfect one, because a lot of the time no one can be bothered.
Yeah.
I skipped it today, and I didn't exercise all last week, but I turned my phone off last week, and we were speaking about it just before we went live. Like, that
Yeah.
was, even though I still did a bit of work, because I pretty much am a workaholic, I'm pretty sure, but I love it, so it's fine. But turning the phone off and not waking up with it every morning was just absolutely insane. I felt like a massive, and this is only for 5 days, might have been 4 mornings. Um, I
It is.
I
It's massive.
physically felt it
I
by
bet. I
day
bet.
2.
But what I think we forget is that you know, I always used to think everything was in my brain. I didn't think about my physical body. So I really battled with exercise. I talk about this a lot in my sessions, and I tell this story about Rio Ferdinand. And sometimes I go, do you know who Rio Ferdinand is? And depends on what nationality, but generally people, obviously, they have heard of him. And I tell this story about how I was reading about his wedding a couple of years. I don't know, he got married like 2-3 years ago to that celebrity Kate. I can't remember her surname, but anyway. And I was reading. What was her name?
I just said Ferdinand.
Yeah, well, it is now, but I can't remember what she was called before. But she was like a reality TV star. Anyway, I was reading this article about her wedding day, and so I used to read a lot of trashy magazines, and she was talking about how she was in the gym in the hotel on the wedding day morning. And I honestly, I remember this really clearly. I put the magazine down and I was just thinking to myself, what is wrong with this woman? Like, why can't she, like, why is she in the gym on a wedding day? Why isn't she just eating croissants and drinking champagne and just, you know, having a nice time with her bridesmaids in her hotel room? No, this woman is sweating in the gym. What's wrong with her? And it wasn't until I developed my own exercise habit and shifted the whole kind of belief around exercise that I realized that she was exercising for her mood and for energy, not obviously to be thin in her dress or anything. And now looking back and reading that, like thinking about that article, it's like so clear to me how we develop an exercise habit. And we have to stop looking at exercise as like a chore, as a punishment, as something to be hated. And actually, when you reframe exercise and what it does for you, now I focus on exercise as fueling me for the day, like giving me that mental energy, even though, of course, it has physical benefits. I think, yeah, all of these things are fueling our brains just as much as our bodies.
Exercise is a crazy one, though, isn't it? Because it's only going to last 45 minutes, let's say. It's not instant gratification, but it is almost instant, because when I go to the boxing gym in the morning, I come back like a feeling like a millionaire. You can't feel any better. And that's only an hour later.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously it has the 2-month lifetime effect if you stick at it consistently. And that's what I wanted to kind of touch on as well, is a great James Clear quote. We don't fall to the level of our goals. No, we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems.
Yeah.
And that the system for me is consistent. Well, that's not the system, but what you need to do is be consistent. So you need to have a system to remain consistent. And I think that's what people really, really struggle. And they've been really interested to hear your perception on this, because everyone sets out with a goal. I just spoke to you again offline and said, I'm going to do something soon called 75 Hard, which is mental toughness, but there's a lot of physical in there as well. 75 days of loads of exercise, only drinking loads of water, reading books, and no alcohol, no cheat meals. So it's going to be pretty intense. I'm looking forward to it. But I've already tried to do this and I lasted 2 days. And that's partly because I was looking for an easy way out. I hadn't fully committed, whereas now I've done it. I'm doing it alongside people as well. And that's starting late September. But everyone sets out with all the best intentions and all the will in the world to start the gym on the 2nd of January and never stop. You know, they'll go every day or 3 times a week or 5 times a week, or whatever it is. And at some point, that dwindles off. Usually, most people, I hope, would last longer than 2 days. But point being, consistency is the real issue, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. And I think it's because, so people, you know, just jump straight in, don't they, into, right, that's it, I'm gonna get fit, and so off they go and they join a gym, and you know, they go a few times and then it sort of stops. So there are a few things I think on this topic. I think one is creating the space for this in your life. So that's why for me, your morning routine is so powerful, because if you sort of have a routine and you do things at different times, you've got space for exercise or whatever habit is that you want to create. If you're just hoping on a whim that you're going to have the energy and the will to do it at the end of the day, like, forget it. I mean, I know people do, and that's fine. If you exercise in the evening, some people do, and they can make it work. Brilliant. No problems with that. Some people do it at lunchtime. But I think for the most part, people think they're going to do it and then they don't, and then we just end up beating ourselves up about it, and then we feel all this guilt, and then we punish ourselves, and that's not a great place to be in either. So I think the first thing is also, you know, you said about an hour of boxing, and if you can do an hour of boxing, amazing. But for a lot of people, you've just got to start small. I mean, if you read like The Power of Habit and some of those other brilliant books, they say just start with 1 minute. 1 minute of walking. You know, if you're literally brand new to exercise and create an exercise habit, just start with something micro. And I would say just 10 minutes, watch a 10-minute YouTube video. So if you wake up at 6, wake up, grab a glass of water and play that YouTube video for 10 minutes. By 6:11, you'll be done. And then
Are you allowed to play it on your phone though?
Yeah, of course. As well, I say, yeah, of course. It depends, I think. I mean, I think it's fine to start with. It's better that you're watching a YouTube exercise video than just scrolling.
Not. Yeah, definitely.
Just make, and that's another thing about creating habits. You've just got to make it so easy to start with. Don't make it difficult for yourself.
That's another thing I remember from the James Clear book. He said do 1 press up, not 10. But it was also, if you want to exercise in the morning, and I do this all the time, and this is how I maintain it now, is by making sure my exercise gear, everything's already in the car apart from the clothes. The clothes are they're on the floor next to my bed, so there's just no excuse. Because if I go and put a dressing gown on or something like that and then start sitting on the sofa, maybe
forget it. No, I'm the same. I have to get up and get out or exercise straight away. I think the other thing is not just having a morning routine. So I also, if I run masterclasses on this as well, so I also teach people in the morning routine masterclass how to have a morning routine for the majority of days, and then like a mini one for the days where things are not normal, like you're going traveling traveling internationally, or you've got a kind of different schedule for whatever reason, because consistency, like you say, is king. So I think one of the things as well that I do now is I have a kind of a routine for the week. So I've got a dog, and I know lots of people who are joining today will have dogs or kids and various other commitments. So trying to plan your exercise and your morning routine around the things that you need to in your life, like work and kids and whatever else. So, I know now, certain days, like I have a dog walker, for example. And so I know how much time that means that I've got versus other days. So on those days, I'll book classes at the gym, or I'll work with my PT or whatever. And then the other days where I can't do that, I'll have YouTube videos ready, saved, and know that, Friday is weights, legs, whatever, and it's 30 minutes and I've got a video ready to go. And like you, I think getting everything ready, your gym stuff, is really important. But I think one of the most important things is just not going on your phone. Like it's a total time waster. It just steals your time. And so I don't go on my phone until my morning routine's done.
Right. Okay. How long? Actually, let's start from the night time, because I firmly believe, and I'm sure you're the same, a good morning routine starts at night.
Yeah.
So what do you do at night time with your phone? What's your shutdown procedure?
Yeah. So I've kind of been experimenting with a light alarm lately. I'm not fully committed to it because I've actually now developed really good habits around my phone. So, but I would say if you're struggling with your phone, get an old-fashioned alarm clock, put the phone in another room, and that way you kind of eliminate your phone and it's much easier to create the habit. So I sort of broke my phone habit with a light alarm, but now I use my phone alarm most of the time. So in the evening, I stop looking at my phone usually around 8. That would be the last time I would look at it. And then I usually go up and
the phone's downstairs, right?
No, I use my phone in my room. I have my phone in my room. It's my alarm. So, but like I said, I think in the beginning I couldn't have it in my room because I couldn't break that cycle of still checking it. So I kept it out of the room, got the light alarm, used that. But now I use it as an alarm, and I'm okay with that because I don't go on my phone before I go to sleep or first thing in the morning. But like I said, I think if you're struggling with it, get an old-fashioned alarm or use a light alarm because they're brilliant. So go upstairs, usually about 30 minutes before I go to sleep, read, and that has become one of the best habits I have ever created, I think, because And there's a lot of this in these different books, you know, that I know you've read some of as well. But if you think about it, just before you go to bed, imagine what information you're putting into your subconscious when you're looking at your phone, and then swap that out for something really powerful. Like I'm reading a manifestation book at the moment. It's absolutely brilliant. And I get really excited, you know, and I just can't wait to wake up to carry on reading it. And I love that about books. And then I usually go to sleep around 9:30 because I wake up at 5, so I need to go to bed early. And I always say to people, nothing fun happens after 9:30 generally. You know, there's the odd fun night, you know, the odd party or whatever. But generally, what if the people who are listening to us today, what do people actually do after 9:30?
It kind of ties in with my next question, because I imagine the majority of the nation do one thing, or maybe two things. One, probably eat bad food, and two, watch TV, if we're talking to people sort of similar ages to us. Do you have a TV in your room?
Yes, although I've been debating about it. I think we were talking about it the other day, or you mentioned it maybe in one of our group calls, because it's quite a bad habit to watch TV just before bed.
It's only a little bit worse than the phone, I would say, just in terms of like the blue light and stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah.
But phone is actually a lot worse when you think about it, because you're putting in probably a lot of negativity or work stress or something. So I guess TV is, people view it as a form of relaxation. I'm the same, because I can't rarely be still. I'll need something to focus on, and I'll have jungle noises or cats meowing or something playing when I go to sleep, just to break the silence. So for me, it is a form of relaxation. But yeah, we constantly take the TV down and put a picture over the plug just so there's something there, and then we'll get bored and just one Sunday or something and go and get it back out again. Then it'll stay there for 3 months, and then we'll sort of repeat the cycle. But I know that I want to read a book, or at the very least listen to an audio book. I still am drawn, and I do that, but not enough. But I was interested to, so when you're in your room, you will not watch TV?
Yeah, we do watch TV, but 9 times out of 10, I read before. That reading is the last thing I do before sleep. And that's been a relatively new thing, something I've been doing in the last few months, because I usually read in the morning, but I love it and I can see the difference. And I think with all of these things, you've just got to take them one step at a time. I think I'd always prioritize the morning routine. And because I started exercising every day, I slept really well. And then I started, you know, feeling like, you know, I hated waking up in the night and ever seeing the TV on. It used to wake me up, and then you get distorted sleep because, you know, you've left it on and you've both fallen asleep. So I try to avoid doing that now by just reading. And like I said, when you're reading a really good book, it just fuels your brain with all this positivity. And I've noticed one interesting thing is that I wake up feeling more positive than I used to. And I think it's because that's the last bit of information that went into my brain that night, rather than seeing like a violent shooting or whatever it is on Netflix that you're watching. So yeah,
it makes so much sense, doesn't it? Because if you go and eat a load of spicy food or a takeaway and then go to sleep, the first thing you're going to wake up with, if at all, during the night or in the morning, is probably going to be, oh, shouldn't have eaten that. And I guess your brain's the same. It's like, why have you put that in me? Give me some nourishment, not a load of negativity or anxiety or potential stress.
But that all comes back to the same kind of point of reference, which is that you need to, I know it's boring to have a routine, and I get some pushback about this sometimes in the sessions. Like, people don't want to wake up at the same time every day, even though that is one of the best ways to you know, for your own well-being and your own health, because your whole body and your brain and your sleep gets into a rhythm. But it really is like, you wouldn't be eating, if you were in a routine where you were waking up at the same time every day, you wouldn't be having a really heavy meal like just before sleep, because, you know, everything would play out in a much more sort of habitual way. yes, there are the odd occasions where we all have like late nights and we're doing things differently. But for the most part, for like 6 days out of the week, you should. And this is the other question I get asked sometimes about weekends. So, you know, some people will sleep till like midday at weekends just to catch up. But actually, I think that's one of the worst things you can do as well. Got to try and stick to a similar routine as you have in the week.
Yeah, I'm at the point now where I'll beat my alarm, but
Yeah.
I be kind of what you mentioned earlier. It would be get up, have a brew, get ready, go to work,
Yeah.
and lying on the weekends.
Yeah.
And it's crazy what having the same wake up time does for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really small
Sorry.
thing, isn't it? But massive, a massive difference.
Oh, definitely. And I think I started doing the phone out of the room for me.
Yeah.
It has to be out of the room.
Okay.
Absolutely has to be. And the one little hack I would have for anyone that might be, I know Vicky just mentioned she's got heightened anxiety in the mornings. And it
Yeah.
probably is the phone either before or during when you wake up. I took all the chargers out of my room, which again is and put them downstairs. So you can't charge your phone. Normally it's out of battery. So it has to stay downstairs if you want to charge it. And that makes me keep my phone downstairs. That's for me, that's the equivalent of putting your gym gear next to your bed. It's just making it easy, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy what an effect that can have. And it's also crazy. What do you think you're going to get from half an hour in bed on your phone? You might be able to reply to a few texts maybe, but unless you've got something specific planned, you're not actually missing out on anything. This is what I realized during these past few days off is, I've had a load of emails, had a load of notifications. Not missed anything critical though. Certainly nothing that was more important than spending some time with my family, which is quite rare where they've got my full attention.
Yeah.
So you're not actually missing out on anything.
No, but I think we should also be kind to ourselves. Like and this goes for everybody, including me. We're all a work in progress, and it's, you know, the companies that are creating all these apps and all the social media giants, they spend billions of dollars trying to keep us hooked, you know. So it's no wonder that we keep going on our phones, like, you know, mindlessly scrolling. And even in the US, they also call it doom scrolling, especially if you're looking at negative news and things like that. So if you're one of those people, like, it's okay. We've all done it, and we all still do it sometimes. So, you know, I think that's really important, because we definitely don't want people, you know, it's completely normal human behavior. I think that's how it is. And actually, in the co-working space the other day, I was chatting to somebody in the sea swimming group I'm part of, and he said, "Oh, what do you do again?" And I told him, and he said, "Oh, I'm thinking about getting one of those Nokia, you know, what they call the
3210.
3210, yeah." And then another guy said,
phone.
yeah, and another guy was like, "Yeah, maybe I should get one of them again." And I think it's interesting, isn't it? And now you see these retreats where, you know, no phones. It's like literally, you know, you go there and pay a lot of money to not be able to use your phone, so you can break the habit. So
Rehab, isn't it, basically?
yeah, it is a massive addiction. But like you say, I think one of the things I've learned is that when I'm working, I'm working. And when I'm not working, I'm not working. And so I've actually taken quite a few things off my phone, like my email, for example. I used to have this colleague that I worked with. So I'd send her an email like during working hours, and then she'd reply on like a Sunday night at, say, 9 p.m. And I'd, you know, you can see the timestamp when somebody replies to an email. So the next morning I'd check my emails, and, you know, maybe in the afternoon I'd say to her, "Have you done this?" Whatever it was. And she'd be like, "Oh, I forgot about that." And I was like, this happens time and time again. And I said to her, it's because you are replying to your email from your phone on your sofa when you're watching something on TV or whatever you're doing. So you're not really working. And I used to think that I was like queen multitasker. I could do this and this and this, like 5 things all at once. And, since reading all these different things, completely agree with this statement now that multitasking is multi-wasting. And I think in reality, if you think that you can be having a conversation with your other half and quickly posting something online, you're not really there with either of those things.
Yeah, you're in that middle ground, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's not fair for the person who you're actually, trying to pay attention to, and it's not really fair to the job that you're trying to do on your phone or your laptop or whatever. So taking email off my phone just gave me that space. So I, now when I'm at my laptop, I'm working. When the laptop's not out, I'm not working. And
I'm
of
going
course,
to do that
yeah, try it.
because I've got 4 email accounts, I think, for different reasons, and I still do a bit of consultancy at my old place. And I took that one off, and then my Hotmail one didn't log in for whatever reason. I might have changed the password or something. And I've only now got 1 account on that phone, and it is my main account, but I've not missed the others. So I'm sure this one wouldn't hurt. So I'm gonna do that. I think that's a really good. There's a book, isn't there, is it by Cal Newport called A World Without Email? That's on my to read list.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
read it a few
exciting.
years ago. I haven't read it for a while, but
Is
yeah.
it old? I thought it was a new one. Maybe I'm thinking of a different one that he's just released, and I'm not sure.
I read a book about email, and I've got another one that I haven't read yet called How to Break Up with Your Phone. So that's the next one. Quite dramatic.
Yeah.
But like I remember one of the employees I was working with recently, she said, for her phone is almost become like this I can't remember the word. I think she called it the devil or something in her pocket. But she was at the park with her child, and it was like 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, and she was pushing her child on a swing, and she heard the buzz or the ding of her phone. And whilst she was pushing the swing, she went into her phone and she found an email, and that was it. It was a work email. It really annoyed her, it really upset her, but there was nothing she could do about it, and it completely ruined her day. And she could have just opened it on Monday when she was actually at work, and then maybe kind of could have cleared it up straight away, because whoever sent it to her was probably in the workplace and so on. Instead, she made that decision to have it work email on her phone, then be distracted by it while she was pushing a child on the swing. And I think we see so much of that. And that to me is like, I'm on a mission to try to help people to stop that from happening, because that's really damaging.
Yeah, you're right. I thought you were going to say she went on a phone and then got the swing came back or something, which that would have been some salt in the wound. But I know they even if you just read sometimes even a subject line on an email, that can change your mood.
Yeah.
And that was the release that I was talking about that I felt when I was on holiday. It wasn't from my brain not being in a little bit of work mode. That was okay. It was the fact that I didn't have this constant need to just check. Oh, this has happened. Nothing's really happened, but this has happened. It's not really important though. This has happened. Oh, it's absolutely. Yeah, I've now made the decision where Saturdays now the phone is off completely. There won't be any posts from me on social. I used to post twice a day on like 3 channels. Whole Saturday's off now. That's it. Followers are not that important. So Saturday is dedicated day to what Amy and the kids want to do. Dictated by hundreds of kids clubs, obviously. I wanted to ask you then, because my morning routine is I'm quite a perfectionist, and I understand the importance of, like you do, I've heard you mention it a number of times, sort of eating the frog, getting one of the worst, not the worst, but the thing that you might consider a chore, getting out of the way as early as possible, and turning it into a win. And then therefore everything else is obviously a bit easier. If it's exercise, obviously you feel in a better mood and lifted kind of thing. Now I'm always really, really stuck as to what I should do first, since I've been a business owner, if you like. So what do you think it should be? Because for me, there are sort of a few different priorities. The first one being to go out and exercise in some form, which I leave the house for. The other to knuckle down and do the same, eat the same frog, but in a business scenario. So it might be replying to messages. I don't mean straight away. I always say, well, go and have a brew or whatever first, but prospecting or lead gen or replying to clients' messages or something like that. Which direction would you go? Would it always be exercise before you engage in anything work related?
For me, it is, but it doesn't matter to me what habits you're doing. They have got to power you up for the day. So I wouldn't start any work until I've done my morning routine. So my morning routine is quite sacred now. So it consists of 3 main things, which I'm very happy to share. So the first one is exercise. The second one is brain food, positive brain food. And the third one is performance. So doing something to ensure I have a high performing day. And I don't do any work things until I've done those 3 things, because, and it's really, really simple. It's like anything. If you were going to run a marathon, if you were going to get in the car, you wouldn't do any of those things without preparing for it. So why do we jump into our lives every single day without being ready for it? You know, for a job interview, you'd prepare, you know, and there are some habits that we do without thinking about, like having a shower, brushing our teeth, eating breakfast and stuff like that. But we don't think about mentally and physically preparing ourselves. And let's face it, life is a roller coaster. We've got all this stuff going on, all this brain noise, Ukraine, energy crisis, so many things going on. And you know, that's without any sort of roller coasters at work or home challenges or health or anything. So for me, it's just having that window of time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. For me, it's longer than that. I've been doing this for several years, but getting yourself ready for the day so you've got the resilience to manage whatever comes at you.
I love it. Yeah, it makes so much sense.
I feel like I've
as well.
slowed down. My internet looks like it's slowed down. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. You've got your eyes shut, but I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can see you laughing now, but I can't hear you. I was about to wrap.
I'm going to switch to my phone. Yeah, I can. It doesn't look like
Oh, you're definitely lagging, Kat. I was going to wrap up there because I have a call in 10 minutes if you can hear me. But wanted to say,
can you hear me? Or...
Got you.
Okay, sorry, slight technical issue. I don't know what happened there.
That's all good.
Couldn't hear you. Okay, let's switch to this. Sorry.
I was about to wrap anyway, Kat, because I've got another call in a few minutes. So what's the one thing that people can take away from this? I know I've got a couple actually. I've been writing them down, but I know what my main one is. What's the one piece of advice you would offer to small biz owners who want to optimize their day?
So just carving out a little bit of time in the morning to get yourself ready, and just starting with one habit. So if your wake up time is 6 and let's say you go on your phone for 15 minutes, half an hour, and then you start work, just focus on switching that bit of time into something more positive, like doing, you know, whatever exercise you like, yoga, taking the dog out, whatever it is. Or even reading a book. You know, just choose one habit to start with. If there is no time and you're a serial snoozer and you're always rushing around in the mornings, then start waking up 15 minutes earlier and see the difference that it makes to, and it's all about building from there, isn't it? Like, it's the 1%. It's not rushing in and creating a 3-hour morning routine, because you're just setting yourself up for failure. It's just start with one thing. And if anybody wants it, I've actually got a 21-day challenge habit I use. So if anyone wants to message me after this on LinkedIn, I can ping it across to you. It's just a very simple PDF. And one things we were talking about earlier, but we didn't finish talking about, was one of the big important things about habits is figuring out your why. Like, why do you want to change this? And we had like over 150 people sign up for this, all business owners. And I'm wondering why, like, what is the real reason for wanting a morning routine? Is it because you want more energy? What you've got to dig deep and uncover the real reason why. That really is at the heart of habits.
Agreed. Can people get that challenge directly from your website, or is that a specific DM you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, no, it's something I use with my clients, so you'd have to DM me, but I'm very happy.
Secret stuff. Okay. I like it. I like it. Are you not going to do the typical Instagram DM me a word? DM me the word habit.
No, just send me a nice message on LinkedIn.
Just be nice. Love it.
It's really good, like you were saying about the 75-day hard. It's so good. I think just set yourself a challenge. 21 days. It's a good starting point, and it's going to take you into the realm of where a habit actually starts to become a habit. And so it's a good starting point. And on that document, you have to fill in different boxes about why you really want to do it, what you're going to do if you feel like giving up. So it helps you really get clear on the habit before you jump straight into it. Gives you a much better chance of keeping it going.
Sounds amazing. Do I have to DM you, or can I just ask you for it now?
I'll send it to you.
Thanks, Kat. Well, thank you so much for jumping on. I'm sorry, I'm not cutting it short, actually, because I think we're only in for 45 minutes. But I could talk about this for ages, because I firmly believe the habits are at the root of everything that we do. As you mentioned at the start, they're so foundational. So for any of my followers who aren't following Kat, please do. She shares some amazing stuff daily, goes live frequently, and also runs some amazing masterclasses, and has something that she's willing to give away for free. So give her a follow. This will be on YouTube. So if you're watching back or listening on the podcast, you are the Morning Game Changer on Instagram as well, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I will catch up with you later on in the week.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for everyone who joined.
Thanks, Kat. Bye, everyone.